The topic that I am given is the life of physics. I am not going to teach you the Big Bang theory, which explains how the universe has been created. I am not going to teach you the Newton laws, which are very popular in the field of physics. And I am also not going to discuss the great invention, the relativity of science invented by the great scientist Einstein. Just I am going to explain what is science and how it has been evolved, what is physics, what is the nature of the physics, some of the great inventions of physics, how they have changed the course of human life, and also I am going to explain some of the equipments and the principle underlying behind them. Some of the great force of the physics physicists and what we can learn from them. In the year 1944, the renowned and famous physicist Erwin Schrödinger, he wrote a book with the name Life of Physics and What is Life. In that book, he made a groundbreaking statement. That book later inspired two scientists, Watson and Crick, to discover DNA, which is the blueprint of human genes, because it explored the relationship between life and the physics. It contained so many thought-provoking ideas. In that book, he made a comment that the universe is very vast. The life is very vast and unable to comprehend in one word. And also he said that the orderliness of life can be understood from the orderliness of the universe. The universe is in an order and it is functioning with definite principles. Likewise, life is also can be understood from the orderliness of universe. We all know one star and group of planets which are bound together with the force of gravity. We call it as a solar system. Some millions of solar systems makes one galaxy. Some millions of galaxies makes one cluster. Some millions of such clusters make one supercluster. Such millions of superclusters makes the universe. You can imagine how vast the universe is. Likewise, life is too. It is very vast and very profound, unable to comprehend. Erwin Schrödinger says, every living thing that has ever existed on the earth is a product of the universe. From huge galaxies to the small creature on this earth. All they have one thing in common, they follow the law of physics. From minute creatures to the vast galaxy, everything they follow the law of physics. Science is, in one word, we can explain it as systematic study of anything. As the time went by, the science has divided into so many branches and they are kept developing. The subject which deals with living things, we call it as bioscience. The subject which deals with animals, we call it as zoology. The subject which deals with plants, we call it as botany. The subject which deals with matter with respect to the nature, we call it as chemistry. The subject which deals with matter with respect to the behavior, we call it as physics. Likewise, so many branches of science has developed and kept developing. Physics is a branch of science which majorly explores the fundamental principles behind the nature. They majorly Internally, it will deal with four concepts. One is matter, second one is energy, space, and time. So the universe is full of phenomena. So many phenomena are around us. The universe is governed by some physics principles and laws. Physics primarily seeks to find the underlying principle, the underlying law behind the behavior of the nature. The scientists, they primarily want to find out the principle in the nature, how it is working. Once they understood how it is working, they apply it to our daily life. Then they will manufacture a device to make use of it. I'll give you one example. It's a simple device. Every day we are using in our kitchen. Do you know what is the principle, how it is working? Simply you try to understand. At normal temperature pressure, we cannot heat water more than 100 degrees. Once it reaches 100 degrees, the water gets evaporated. We can't give how much heat we may give to the water. It will heat up to only 100 degrees at normal temperature pressure. Boyle, a scientist, he found that when pressure is increased, we can increase the temperature also. As a result, we have prepared a bowl and we made some arrangement so that the pressure is increased in it. As a result, temperature increases up to 120 degrees. As a result, the dishes we cook easily cooked very fastly with the cooker. A small principle that saved our time and fuel. A small underlying principle, when pressure is increases, the temperature also increases. Such kind of principles, and based on them, so many devices are manufactured and we are using in our day-to-day life. Let's take another example, iron box. You know how it is working? When current is passing through a long and thin wire, a resistance is developed. As a result, heat is generated. These small principles. We take some object, we wind that wire around it, we call it as a coil. When current is passing through that coil, it gets heated. As a result, we use that heat to iron our clothes. A small principle that is very useful in our day-to-day life. You know how the mercury thermometer is working? Mercury thermometer is a small device which we use to measure the temperature when we are suffering from fever. It contains a small capillary tube. In it, a mercury is filled in. The mercury has a great property. When it absorbs some heat, it expands. The expanded area is measured with a calibration and we measure our temperature. A small device, a small property. When metals are heated, they expand. Mercury has a great property. When it absorbs a little amount of heat, it gets expanded. So that property we are using to measure the temperature in our body. You know how AC is working? The compressed air will have a cool, which will reduce the temperature. Just I will give an example. When I blow air, my mouth kept open, so it is very hot. The air is very hot. When I blow air with some pressure, it is very cool. The underlying principle behind it is when air is compressed, it will reduce the temperature. It becomes very cool. As a result, we are using that principle in ACs. There is a compressor in the ACs which compresses the air and pressure is reduces. As a result, temperature decreases. Likewise, so many devices, appliances in everyday life we are using. Behind them, very small science principle, very small physics principle is underlying. You know how the LPG which we are using in our everyday life is working? So up to 18th century, when LPG was found along with the petrol in the wells, they thought of it as useless and they burnt it uselessly. Only till 1920, they found that this LPG can be compressed and they liquefied and they kept in a cylinder and we can use it for as a cooking fuel. We are using LPG gases after 1920 only. The first time LPG gas is used for cooking fuel in America for the very first time. In India, 1960 LPG gas is launched. So up to 1920, humans was not aware that LPG gas can be used as a cooking fuel. Till then, we are burning it uselessly. A small one principle that has helped to manufacture LPG cylinder and we are now using it as a cooking fuel. So in the course of time, so many such devices have been discovered and making our life very easier. I want to share you some of the great inventions that have changed the course of human life. For example, electricity, which changed the course of industrialization. Electricity helped a lot in advancing human life into a modernization. Various appliances has been discovered which works on the help of the electricity. So it is the basic invention that led human to the modernity. The second greatest invention that changed the course of human life was integrated circuit. That is, IC is a small electronic device which is a fundamental to the modern electronics. It is very basic material for manufacturing computer, television, every electronic goods working on the ICs, electronic integrated circuits. IC is a heart for the electronics. Since the invention of the is IC, so we are using so many electronic gadgets, so many electronic. And another great invention that changed the course of human life was X-rays. That is the great invention in the field of medicine that helped majorly for the medical diagnosis. Later, that inspired to invent CT scanning and MRI scanning. So that changes the course of medicine and medical diagnosis. And another one of the great invention that drastically changed the human lifestyle was internet. It works on the magnetic waves. It paved way for the information technology, digital technology, mobile technology, and GPS technology. So nowadays, everything is based on the internet is a for the modern world. As fuel is the vehicle, so is internet for the modern world. If there is no internet, entire human life is will be stopped. Such a great impact it is showing in the life of human, that is internet. That is a great invention. That is one of the milestone in the field of science. Great invention. It is going to change the entire world is AI, artificial intelligence. Now it is ruling the world. Every gadget, every equipment, electronic equipment, it is embedded with the AI. It is working with the AI. In the very near future, the AI will drastically change the lifestyle of the human being. Likewise, there are so many inventions in physics which have changed the course of human beings, which have changed the course of human lifestyle. There are some of the phenomena in the physics from which we can learn great lessons. There is a concept, there is a phenomena which says energy is the source of this world. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can transform from one form to the another form. I'll give you one example. The source of all energy is sun. When sun gives out light and energy to the earth gets heated. When the light is thrown on the plants use it. As a result, photosynthesis process takes place. As a result, food is prepared in the plants. We eat that food, we get energy. And we use that energy for all day-to-day activities. When that food is eaten by the animals, they get food. For the transfer of energy in the entire world, sun is the source of energy. When that sun is incident on the ocean, the water gets heated. As a result, the water gets evaporated and it goes up and they become clouds. When that clouds rains, when it rains, the water will flow through the canals, they flow through the rivers, and the banks of the rivers we construct dams. When those still water have potential energy, that potential water having the potential energy, when flowing, that energy will convert into a kinetic energy. We are using that kinetic energy to convert into a electrical energy. That electrical energy we are using in our day-to-day life for various purposes. So, one of the great principle in physics which is impacting our life is transfer of energy. Without energy, we cannot do any work on this earth. I'll give you an example how the energy is transfers. When we are ironing our clothes, electrical energy converting to heat energy. When we are using fan, electrical energy is converting into wind energy. When we are using AC, electrical energy to reduce the temperature. When we are using vehicles, the chemical inside the petrol, it is converting into mechanical energy. So, you take any example, any work on this earth, the underlying principle behind it is transfer of energy. Likewise, so many principles are there in physics, which is governing the nature, which is governing the universe and every day of our life. Finally, I want to conclude with some of the great quotes by some physicists, which inspires us. There is a lot of lessons we need to learn from them. One of the great physicists and chemists who received 2 Nobel Prizes, physics and in chemistry. Mary Curie statement like this: there is nothing in the life to be feared, only to be understood. If we understand, there is nothing to be feared on this earth. So, what we learn from this is, if you learn, you will never fear. If you are ignorant, you always fear. So that is the great statement made by Madam Curie. The great physicist Galilei, he made a comment like this. You cannot teach any man anything. You can only make him think and understand. So this is the statement which teaches us that sometimes you are trying to change a person. You never teach any man anything. You never change any man. But you can make him think. You can make him understand. So that is a great statement Galilei made. One of the great physicists, Carl Sagan, he said that somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. All you need is eyes to see and mind to understand. What you wanted to say, invention is already there in the universe. All you need is eyes to see and mind to understand, and you will become the inventor. So we need to understand there is something incredible is waiting to be discovered. Something incredible is waiting to be revealed itself. All we need is eyes to see. All we need is mind to understand. If we have such mind, if we have such eyes to see new things, we will become inventors. One of the great physicists by name Stephen Hawking, we say like this: the universe doesn't allow perfection. Life is about embracing imperfection. We need to understand in this universe that no one is perfect in this universe. Don't try to see the perfection in persons. Everyone is imperfect. We need to embrace the imperfection and trying to move toward the perfection. We are also not perfect. If we understand this, we will accept ourselves. We will accept others. So don't have the mind of perfection. Don't try to be a perfectionist. The only person who is not happy on this earth is perfectionist. Don't try to be perfect. Life is about embracing the imperfection. Finally, I want to say that according to science, what is intelligence? Intelligence is the ability to adapt to the change. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to the change. Life is about constant learning. Life is about adapting to the change. So it teaches us that we need to adapt ourselves to the change. If you don't learn, if you don't improve, if you don't adapt yourself to the change, in course of time, you will extinct. It teaches us that life is about learning. Life is about improving. Life is about adapting to the change. Those who change themselves to their environment, according to the environment, they will succeed in their life. That is a great lesson we learn from this statement. Finally, I want to conclude. Physics law states like this: energy can never be created nor be destroyed. It transfers from one form to the another form. I already give you example. You can never create energy. You can never destroy energy. Only transform from one form to another form. Likewise, matter too. You can never create matter, not destroy matter. You can change it from one form to another form. You know what is the difference between God and human beings? God can create anything out of nothing. Man can create something out of something. If you want to do something, we need some matter. Without any matter, we cannot do anything. Likewise, love and kindness, you cannot destroy it. You can transform it from one man to the another man. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.